What is up, guys? I've got a pretty special deck profile for you here today. It's going to be Abyss Actors. So I've been trying to learn this deck for like a year and it's been so flipping difficult. I don't know why, but it just wasn't clicking with me before. But this week I've had a bit of luck and I've managed to finally figure out how to play the deck and kind of a way to make it a lot better, at least playable anyway. So what I think is quite unique about this deck as well is that it's a going second deck. It's a pendulum focused deck, and it doesn't really need much help from outside this archetype. It's so xenophobic that you pretty much can only play cards inside this archetype. But with decks like that, you always have a similar kind of deal where, because they know you can't play cards outside the archetype, they get huge amounts of utility, or their power ceiling becomes insanely high because the game knows that, well, because Konami knows that, well, if you can't build spec other cards into it, then you might as well give them the tools to deal with whatever problems they'll come across. So yeah, Abyss Actors is really, really good. So as you can see here, with Invoke Dogmatica, it's a funny matchup. You do have the edge in terms of your power ceiling is much higher and your ability to resolve Rise with the Abyss King. They don't really have a response to that, but then they have the advantage and they have way more consistent starters. I mean, they have 3 or 4 cards like Alistar, all the different Alistar starters, and they've got all the different Ecclesia starters that lead into kind of like +1s, +2s, plus a negate. So that's kind of where their strength lies. But if they don't kill you instantly, then a lot of the times you can just kind of drag that advantage back. And as you're going to see here, he's cleared my board, but I'm going to go into that Mellow Madonna, get my search off. Then first I'm going to pop his Augur Hades just so that he doesn't get the opportunity to destroy my cards, and then moving on from there, it's just going to be a simple case of clearing his board and OTKing him. But yeah, Abyss Actors is really, really fun deck. Another thing I like is how good they are at denying things like Solemn Judgment and such. The effects of Superstar actually prevents your opponent from activating spells and traps when you pendulum summon, or when it is normal special summon, which means your opponent cannot use something to negate that summon, which is awesome. But anyway, moving on into the Cyframe matchup, I actually really don't like Cyframes. I think Cyframes is probably one of the worst design decks in Yu-Gi-Oh, and I might do a video actually on bad card design and the problem with Cyframes. And a little bit of a hint, it's the same reason why hand traps in themselves I think are also bad card design. So of course a deck full of hand traps is not going to be amazingly good. But yeah, moving on, he's going to do his standard plays, but obviously the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of Cyframe Circuit. The thing about Cyframes is they can have a lot of interruptions, but if you deny either their Link Monster or you deny Cyframe Circuit, they can only ever use one, because now their field's blocked up and they can't do anything else. So it's a simple matter, just destroy Cyframe Circuit and then move on. And another thing as well is I didn't bother attacking into his Cyframe monsters because I don't want to give him free resources. However, Psychic Field Zone, I did not know that was a card that existed, and that allowed him to get his resources back for free, which is quite nice. But moving on, I'm just going to do my regular pendulum summons, and from here it's pretty much over. Cyframes can't really compete with a pendulum deck, just because the ability to recur my resources is so much stronger than theirs. They will run out of their resources a lot quicker than I will, so there's just not a lot he can do. So I'm going to start attacking, then he's going to summon his beta from hand so that he doesn't take too much damage, but it's not really going to matter. He does do a bit of a smart thing here by kind of getting rid of my Madonnas and Superstars and stuff. He's trying to kind of eliminate my resources for the grind, but I mean, it's way too late in the game for it to make a difference. That's another problem with Cyframes. Obviously, they're going to have to play that really slow trap, and it's a great trap. It's face down banishing removal, which is amazing, but I mean, it's taken him so long to get it on the field, to get active, that it's not really gonna matter. So he does a whole bunch of blink plays to get his Lambda out, but again, it's way too late. Getting your Lambda out this late in the game, it's not really gonna be the thing that shores up the victory. And then on top of that, obviously destroying my Wild Hope is gonna net me a search, and so now I'm in just an incredible position. I'm just gonna be able to kind of do my Abyss Actor plays again, get the Superstar up, use Rise of the Abyss King to pop a bunch of cards for free, which is awesome. He's gonna negate some stuff, but he's going to destroy some stuff with Cyframe Overload, but it really doesn't matter again because his card's going to get popped, and then I'm just going to simply game him from here, as we're going to see. So I'm going to get into that Abyss Actor deck profile for you. So guys, here is my Abyss Actors deck profile. So this deck is really cool. And I think I like my build because my build is basically just focusing around that Rise of the Abyss King, resolving that as many times as possible is how I win. So I'm going to be playing one Evil Heal. He's good for OTKs, but nothing really else. I'll say just because Twinkle Little Star is available now, that's why he's worth playing. But beyond that, I don't think he's amazing. Superstar is probably the real MVP of the deck because her ability to stop your opponent responding to her normal special summon and to search any Abyss script is amazing, and that's going to be the effect you're going to try and resolve every game. Melobadonna is another really good one. She's going to search any Abyss actor in your deck, which is lovely. Now, one thing you have to keep in mind is they have a great Link 1, but if you use Melobadonna's effect, you cannot summon him as she locks you into special summoning Abyss actor Pendulum monsters, which means that the ideal scenario is to normal special summon one of your lower levels, go into Hyper Director, and then use Hyper Director to search Melobadonna and then use her effect. That's the kind of way you want to go, otherwise you'll be locked out of him. But yeah, really, really good card. Also on field, she can special summon a Abyss actor from deck if you activate an Abyss script, so great effect. Having these two on field is a great position to be in. We've got Sassy Rookie that floats when he's destroyed, which is lovely, and then Wild Hope that destroys when he's that searches when he's destroyed. So obviously you're going to float from Sassy into Wild most of the time, which is going to net you a lovely search and 2 more extra monsters in your extra deck. Then we've got Curtain Raiser, very popular card. This was used in Pendulum Magicians and Endymion and such, but in this, I mean, it's just as good. The main advantage obviously being a free normal summon, so if your normal summon is stopped, you can still get to your Hyper Director with Curtain Raiser. However, its other advantage is that it does recycle Abyss actors from the extra deck, which is lovely. Twinkle Little Star is really good. One of the funny things I'll say about Abyss Actors is before, one of their main weaknesses is that all their high scales were trash. All of the high scales Abyss Actors were trash, so you would have to either rely on playing bad cards basically, so that you had a high scale, or using Wild Hope to modulate your scales, which just isn't that consistent. Whereas now you've got a good higher scale that you can always get to, and it's a 9 scale, which means that you can use it alongside use Evil Heal in the deck. That's another reason why I think Evil Heal is actually playable now, because I can actually pendulum summon it quite consistently, because I have so many ways to get to Twinkle Little Stars. But her effect on attack 3 times is also our only way to out certain threats like Dragoon. Combining her with Fantasy Magic allows you to out things that can't be destroyed or targeted by card effects, so she's definitely going to be very useful in those scenarios. But then moving on, we've got the 2 Comic Relief. That's just your change of parts, not change of parts, sorry, Mind Control, Creature Swap, whatever that card's called, but another good card. So 20 monsters standard. Then we've got 3 Allure, everything's dark, so why not? Rise of the Abyss King, amazing card, pops face-up cards up to the number of attack position Abyss actors you have, and then your opponent can't respond to this if you control level 7 or higher Abyss actors, so this is amazing. Because you're almost always going to search it with Superstar, you're always going to have that condition fulfilled. Great effect. Then when it's set, it allows you to search up to 2 Abyss actor cards or spells from your deck, which is lovely. We've got Opening Ceremony. The only reason we play this is a secondary effect is completely busted. Its first one just gains your LP, but a secondary effect, if it's destroyed, draws until you have 5 cards in your hand. So forcing your opponent to destroy this with either Comic Relief or your field spell is going to be amazing. We play 3 Dark Ruler and 3 Lightning Storm, and these are the only kind of outside decks. This is a blind second deck, but as you can see, it's quite easy to go second into a couple of negates with this deck. So Lightning Storm's for dealing with back row because that can be a problem, and Dark Ruler Normals for dealing with those untargetable beat sticks and those ridiculous Dragon Link boards, but beyond that, you don't need that much. Then we've got the Terraforming because our field spell's nuts, Romantic Terror, which is nice. I mean, this card occasionally is dead on turn 1, but I still do like having it as a kind of 1 or 2 of in the deck. You could probably take this down to 1 and play Abyss Tainment at 2 instead. That wouldn't be terrible. Abyss Tainment is lovely for recycling your Abyss actor spells and traps. Usually you're going to be looping your Rise of the Abyss King with that. And their field spell. The field spell is amazing, but unfortunately it's not an Abyss actor or Abyss script, so it's not searchable. So it has 2 different effects. The first effect, you can reveal an Abyss actor and Abyss script to search another Abyss script spell. That's just a great effect, a nice standard +1. And then its secondary effect is any effect your opponent activates while you control a Pendulum summoned Abyss actor monster becomes destroy a set spell trap your opponent controls. I mean, that's what we want our opponent to do, so really, really good card. Amazing. I mean, it's such a shame that we haven't got another way to get to it. I'm going to be playing 3 of the Link 1. Link 1s are always amazing. This is no different. It's going to be searching and special summoning an Abyss actor, so you're nearly always going to special summon something like a Superstar out of your Pendulum Zone and then search a Melobadonna. Really, really good card. And then the rest is just generic extra deck stuff. You're locked into Abyss actors by both Melobadonna and Hyper Director, so most of the time it's just not worth focusing your extra deck too much because you won't get to use it. But we've got kind of generic Security Dragon, Nightmares, Borals, random rank 7s and super poly targets. Really nothing special about that. Moving into the extra deck, you have got a little bit of flexibility, but these are some of the options. So we've got Nibiru and Phantasme. I like this package against combos. You guys will see this often in my decks. I use this as my kind of combo package to side in. Then we've got Droplets, great card. It's a bit expensive though, so I know some people won't be able to afford it. Dark Green and more might be a better option. And then we've also got 3 evenly matched for back row. Now I do have 1 Fantasy Magic in the side deck as well. I think it is worth playing that Fantasy Magic, just because if you do come up against those threats like Dragoon, you're going to have a big issue, so having a consistent way to out is lovely. And you can also play things like Droll and Lancia. That's why I've only got 12 slots, because Droll and Lancia were the cards that I couldn't really decide which one I'd rather have in my extra deck. But Droll's going to be good against Dragma and Dragon Link and Invoke to an extent, and then you're going to have Lancia, which is going to be good against Eldritch and Dinos. So it's kind of like, depends on what you think is going to be more of a threat for your deck. But yeah, both of those are really good. So guys, that is my Abyss Actor deck profile. I hope you enjoyed that, and make sure to subscribe to my channel. I've got plenty more content coming soon. I'll talk to you all later. Peace.